Hi crafty folks, Amy here with Amy's Wares, and today I'm going to make a couple single layer cards using some new layered stencils. Now this is the layered vase with sprigs and the layered potted bloom stencils. These are both part of the September 2023 release at A Colorful Life Designs. These are so fun and unique, and I was really excited to dive in and play with them. So as you can see, there's 2 layers plus this additional masking piece, and these will come in their own little cellophane plastic envelope just to kind of keep all the parts together. Now here's a couple photos of the finished card to show you the direction that we're headed, but these are both done directly on a card base. So that's 120-pound accent opaque cardstock. I'm going to do some very simple ink blending and stamping, all with products from A Colorful Life Designs. So I do have a coupon, AmyFan10, if you do some shopping. Be sure to use that code at checkout and you'll save 10% on your complete order. But I will link all the other products that I used in the video description box below. Now to start, I'm starting off with this one layer, and I'm just going to use some inks. I have a bunch of mini inks from Catherine Pooler. She recently released all the colors basically into the mini format, which is what I collect. So here you can see I'm going to do some pretty messy, not so great ink blending. I think what might be happening here, this is my first time using these. I think, first of all, they're very juicy. Second of all, I think my brushes for the neutrals are pretty used to distress inks. Now, those are also dye inks, so I'm not entirely sure why that might be happening because they're not necessarily gunked up or anything, but I think I needed to kind of work at it a little bit just to get enough ink, because you can see this ink blending was a hot mess express here. There's a lot of splotches, it's a mess. So I really just end up coming in with kind of a heavy hand and quite a bit of ink. And then any residual texture that's left on there, I kind of figure, well, it just kind of looks like the texture of the pottery, if you will. So it ended up okay. I stuck it out, but I was a little nervous when I was doing this ink blending because it was very messy, y'all. It wasn't great. So here I have this new cotton candy color. This is the newest color from Catherine Pooler. I'm excited to play with it. And I'm going to come in with the blooms portion of this just to kind of add that beautiful pink color into the design. Now, as you saw, or maybe you didn't see because I didn't have it up next to like a black piece of cardstock, so it was very visible. But the next piece you'll see me working on is actually the stem and the leaves for this design. So I'm just going to line that up. It was really super easy to line up. Just kind of put it in that open space. I don't even need to mask anything off because it's a 6x6 stencil. And now I'm going to come in with this green color. I believe this is grass skirt. So I'm going to do some ink blending with this just to kind of fill in the leaves. And again, this is all done directly on the card base. So you could absolutely layer this up on a separate piece of cardstock and attach it to a card base. But in this case, I thought, why use the extra paper? I can do this just fine on the card base. But as you can see, again, I was just not having a good blending day. I have lots of splotches from these juicy ink pads. So it does dry back quite a bit. It does kind of level out, so I wasn't too worried about it. But here I decided I wanted to add a little bit more dimension into the blooms. So I pulled that back out, and then I think I just grabbed my red blending brush just to add a little bit more dimension into that color, because I was able to get kind of a nice variety on the green, but I felt like the pink was pretty flat. So I just grabbed my red blending brush and just kind of, keyed that up a little bit. Now I have this other set here, and I'm coming in kind of off kilter. I'm still working on an A2 size card base, but I'm kind of kicking it off to the side, and now I'm busting into all these yummy new brown mini ink pads that I just got my hands on. So if you aren't familiar, Catherine Pooler has recently kind of reconfigured her inks. Like I said, they are all available in the mini format now, which is great, but she used to sell them, all the minis, in packs of 8. They were different combinations of colors, either from the Party Collection or the Spa Collection, which are her 2 kind of lines of ink. But now she's kind of reconfigured that so you can just buy whatever individual ones you want. And you can go to Catherine Pooler directly and still buy the storage boxes that will hold 8. or 4 of those mini ink pads. So if you do want to get your hands on the original configurations, I know some stores still have some of the collections, and I'll link what I can below in the video description box. Otherwise, you can kind of just pick and choose, and then if you want the storage boxes, then you would have to get those directly from Catherine Pooler. Now here I'm showing you a big green nasty fingerprint that I put right down on this card base. So again, my struggle bus ride continues. And I'm going to come back to that in a minute once I'm done with these twigs or branches or whatever are in this vase. So here I'm just using my green blending brush and then my teal blending brush just to kind of give it a little bit of interesting color. Probably not anything realistic, but that's okay because it's a bit of a whimsy design to begin with. So I'm okay with that. But I'm just coming in with that teal color across the top, and then I'm going to remove this and figure out how to fix my hot mess fingerprint here. So I have my sand eraser here, and I'm really going to go to town taking off the top layers of that cardstock. Usually this will do the trick, but this was a really big fingerprint, and I could see when I was using the sand eraser I was actually kind of eating in to where I had actually stenciled the vase. But I thought that's okay, I'm just going to line the stencil back up and then do some ink blending with the brown just to fill in that little area that kind of looks like a chip on the edge of the pot. So don't give up if you make mistakes. If you smudge, definitely get your hands on one of these sand erasers because they're absolutely a game changer, but there's plenty of ways to work around it. Maybe conveniently placed stamp or sentiment or blingage. You can use your sequins or whatever blingage you want to put on the card to make it a blingage moment to cover up a mistake. So most of the time I'm able to work through it no matter how big of a mistake. If I can't, at the end of the day, it's just paper. So I'm not going to stress it. I'm just going to keep moving on. Now I have this sentiment set from A Colorful Life Designs, and I'm going to use that on both of my cards. Now this one nestled perfectly in that kind of lighter ink blending in the center of the pot, and it says, "You make my life brighter." And I'm just stamping it with a nice rich black pigment ink. It is called Diversifying Claire Nocturne. And then on this one I'm going to use another stamp that says, "You got this." I believe this is all off the top of my head, I believe it's the Amazing stamp set that will be available as well, and you can use my discount with that. So Amy Fan 10 again at A Colorful Life Designs, and that'll save you 10% on your complete order. So I'm just using my Misty Door to pick that up, conditioning the stamp, even though, as you can see, because it's green, it's already been used before. And I'm going to use a green ink pad just to kind of switch this one up and make it a little bit different. I'm using my press tool from Tailored Expressions. And then here's my corner chomper. It has a 1/4 inch rounded edge and a 1/2 inch. And I'm just going to use that just to kind of give these cards some visual interest, just because they're kind of plain otherwise. So I'm just going to round a couple of the edges. Here I have a white Sakura gel pen. I'm just kind of adding some little highlights onto this little twig just to again give it some visual interest, and I will also draw that down, kind of reflective highlights along the pot as well, just to kind of give it a little something extra special, but nothing too big and nothing too time consuming. So I'm just kind of sticking to the right of all of these little nubbins or whatever they are on the end of the twigs, and then here I'm just going to do the highlights with some lines and a couple little dots, like I said, on this pot. So overall, very simple designs. We're going to do the same thing here, kind of give some interest onto this pot. This almost looks like a concrete, probably wouldn't be very reflective, but whatever, we're going with it. Going a little highlighter happy here, adding dots and lines just to kind of give it something else, because everything about this is flat. There's no blingage. It'll be nice and easy to ship. Nice little note card. I left it blank inside, and that's going to finish my 2 cards. So thank you so much for spending time with me today. Hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please hit the thumbs up and consider subscribing, and be sure to check out the rest of the September release because it's awesome. So thanks for watching. Bye.